Howdy folks, Dread Shells here, and welcome back to another video in World of Tanks. I've been going over my uh, last video's comments that I uploaded, the game that I showed you guys in the EBR 90. Um, and there was a couple comments in there that I found kind of funny about how that game was a good example of why wheeled vehicles should not be in the game. And how shall I abbreviate my point of view on that particular issue? I agree, and I also disagree. Um, and I'll kind of just leave it at that. Mainly, it's because I wish they didn't have to be in the game. Let's say it that way. Um, but because of wargaming's other balancing factors in the game, I feel like I'm not too sorry to play them. Let's just say it that way. Um, but yeah, we could discuss that for quite a while. So, um, I decided that I will show you another game that I had in Pilsen, or I should say on Pilsen, and also in a tier 9 light, but in a tier 9 scout that anyone could hardly accuse of being overpowered. And that is the tier 9 British light tank, the GSOR, or the GSOR as I like to call it. This tank is surprisingly, I've been able to do fairly well in it over the time that I've played it. I have a pretty good win rate. I have pretty good combined assistance and direct damage in it. Strangely, and I don't understand why, because everything about this tank statistically screams that it's a terrible tank, and I still think that it's a terrible tank. Um, and without going too much into the statistics of it, it's slow. Its view range isn't great for a tier 9 scout. Um, its reload is really slow um, for the alpha damage that it does, and it doesn't carry a lot of ammo. Um, the two things going for it are it has pretty good penetration, and it has gun depression. Um, and it's kind of a small profile tank too. So, other than that, this tank doesn't really have anything going for it at all. So, if it wasn't for the WZ-132A, the Chinese tier 9, I'd say that this was probably the worst tier 9 scout. So, let's get out of the free cam mode that we are in. F3. All right, so we are on Pilsen on the North Spawn, and it is a tier 10 game. And so right away, that is some pretty rough matchmaking. And there are a ton of scouts on both teams. Let's see, count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 10 scouts in this game, and there are 3 EBRs on the enemy team, 2 tier 9s and a tier 10. And so right away we have 3 bad things. We have bad tiering in the matchmaking. We have bad composition, meaning the kinds of tanks that are on the team, and we don't have a good map. So right away, everything screams about this game that it's going to be a really, really hard game to play on. And so I've talked about in previous videos about thinking about where you're going to go based off of all those factors at the beginning of a battle, and most people will decide to go over here into the cold dunes over here at the start of the battle, and they will decide to try to scout over here and just play along the dunes here. I don't think that I have any chance of surviving past 30 seconds in this game if I decide to go here. With 3 EBRs on the enemy team, and a Lynx too, if I remember correctly, if I go over here into these dunes, I'm just going to instantly die right away. They're just going to push me. They're going to shoot me with HE. They're much faster than I am. I have a really slow reload. So I'm not even going to bother going here at the start of the game based on what's on the enemy team. So I decide that I'm just going to go into a supporting role at the start of the battle here. And, ooh, nice camo there, T-54E1. And let's see if we can adjust the nameplates, the markers here real quick. I don't know why that's not showing correctly. And it's showing percentage. Sorry about the wait. And we'll get that fixed here. Vehicle model. Apply. All right. And vehicle model. Apply. Okay. So now we should be fixed and ready to go. So like I said, anticipating what's going to be happening in the battle before it happens is a very, very valuable thing to do in any tank, but not just in a scout tank. So I decided I'm going to push up here a little bit early. Looks like the nameplates aren't going to adjust there on the percentage. Oh well. Get a really nice shot in there to the EBR-90. I should say one of the EBR-90s there. And you can see, look at the swarm of light tanks that are over there in the coal dunes. I would have been instantly dead if I decided to go over there. And I'm just sitting here on the corner of the factory putting some side fire into these guys that are YOLOing around here. Trying to make every shot count here, and I wasn't really watching the angle behind me. I probably should have been watching that a little bit more closely, as people on that other window across the courtyard or across the factory, I should say, can shoot you. Looking for a kill shot on this EBR-90 here. And I'm trying to time it right, and I do, but my shot goes low and it gets absorbed into the magical mystical wheels that is the wheeled EBRs. Those wheels absorb a lot of shots, and a lot of people aren't happy about how that mechanic works. So now that it's calmed down a little bit in the middle here, I decided I'm going to move up across a little bit here. I see that my AMX 13105 has moved in to try and kill this EBR 105, so I decide that I'm going to try and help him here so he doesn't push for nothing, and we do. So we get one of the Batchat, we get the Batchat 12T and the EBR 105 killed, so that is a pretty good outcome. And now I decide I want to play around in the middle a little bit more here, right? Things have calmed down. The other two EBR-90s have left, at least for now. And I don't have to worry about Artie anymore. Not sure how he died. I wasn't really paying attention at the time, and I didn't even notice now how he died. But we don't have to worry about Artie anymore. Really bad shot there, poorly aimed. Or I should say poorly timed, rather. That's what we call an old man reaction shot. Seeing if I can bait one of the snipers to shoot at me there. You see that I could have taken that shot, but I didn't. The Lynx, he was too busy looking at me. He didn't see the Foch coming up beside him, and the Foch just plants a huge shell right in his face. And so now my goal is to get underneath the guns of the snipers here and start harassing them here a little bit. I know the Wheezy 111 just fired here, so I had time to put in another shot there. The reload on this tank is really long, so you really have to keep your enemies at arm's distance, so to say. You can't get into a knife fight with a tank. You'll lose every time. Knife fight being you shoot him, he shoots you, you know, kind of engagement. You'll lose almost every one of those unless they're on low hit points. So a lot of people don't know about this position here. You can actually sneak into these bushes from the back side of the building on the perch, and most people don't utilize this position very well once you've won the zero line behind me here. Because this is a very common place where enemies like to go to retreat once they've lost that spot on the map. And I sneak a shot into the Lancing here, and I do get spotted, of course. I was trying to figure out a way to sit behind the bush and shoot at the same time, but unfortunately the terrain just doesn't allow me to do that. But you see the GSOR there, it's such a small tank that I'm able to hide in this little depression here. put a shell into the UDES and got 1 tick of fire damage there. So that was nice. Added a little bit to get him a little bit lower. And one thing I've noticed about playing the GSOR is that it really improves your marksmanship because you don't have a lot of ammo in this tank. So now the tactical situation has changed, right? And let's just pause the game here and let's see if we can go into free cam here and go up here. So what has basically happened is the enemy have blitzed into the city side, or the mini factory side as I like to call it, these 2 smaller factories here, and they pushed completely through this area and they've overwhelmed our teammates that were over here. And the exact same thing has happened to the enemy team from our team pushing into this side of the map over here, right? Their scouts went into these coal dunes at the beginning of the game and brushed around and drove around a lot, but they didn't really do anything to our team because they were smart enough to stay in cover, and eventually we killed a couple of them and the other ones left, right? So we were able to counter push once their scouts had left, and so we won this side of the map, right? And so now what has happened is it's turned into an east versus west fight, which doesn't happen very often on this map, at least completely. Sometimes I see one side as an east and west, but I've never seen both sides turn into an east and west, as in the north and the south sides of the map. So I found this really tactically very interesting, and it was pretty cool to try and figure out what to do from here. So basically, I'm anticipating, just like what's happened with the CBR-90, is that they're trying to probably push into our backside right now, right? So rather than push into that Wheezy 111 that's sitting over here in the corner, there's no need for it, right? The enemy, almost the entire enemy team that we know have pushed past the halfway point of the map, right? And they're pushing into our cap zone area. So we need to head back and help defend cap here. There we go. So I don't even care about the Death Star, the 268, the Wheezy 113 that's behind me. I'm going to go back and help defend cap here. I got a Foch 155 who is paying attention, and an STRV who's ready to give support. He just needs a little bit of spotting assistance here and somebody to give him some eyes so he can safely put shots in. Now, there is this spot here on the North Cap zone that most people are probably familiar with that little Hetzer stack there, those Hetzer holes that provide cover. Really surprised that I didn't get spotted when I pushed in here. I didn't get spotted by the larva. The GSOR's camo isn't that good, so he must have had a really bad crew. So I'm double bushing here, just so the IS-3 doesn't spot me. And so we're just harassing the enemy tanks that are trying to cap at the same time, keeping them perma-spotted. Although my team doesn't really need my spots at this point because the STRV behind me there, he's spotting them on his own too. Now that the cap isn't a threat anymore, I'm going to try and put some shots into this T-54E1 while I can, right? It's always best to shoot the enemies while they're exposed and not wait for the more difficult engagements, right? The SDRV behind me finishes off the larva who was sitting in the cap circle, and now this T-54E1 finds himself in a real pickle. He's sitting in a big crossfire here, and we do take a shot of damage from the EBR, who must be sitting up over there in the A1, A2 area, somewhere like that. And now we've successfully defended cap. So now it's 3 tier 10 tank destroyers and 2 EBR-90s versus 2 tier 10 tank destroyers, myself, a Tiger II, and Artie. Now, tactically, they have the big advantage here, right? But they are making really big misplays, right? The 183 is pushing in at a really bad angle. The 268 is pushing in on his own, and he is caught completely out without being able to receive any cover fire. Now, the TDs behind me, right, could poke up and shoot, but I got this little knoll here that I was able to hide behind. Fortunately, the 268 there takes out our Foch 155, but that did allow me to safely take him out there. And now, this is the riskiest play of them all here. Whether the 183 was going to be aiming at me, whether the Wheezy 111 was going to be aiming at me before I was be able to get underneath their guns here. So I know that the 183 is looking at the Tiger 2 engaged, so I need to figure out where's the Wheezy 111, which way is he looking, right? And I don't see the Wheezy 111 at all. And there he is there. So I don't want to drive around that side of the house. I want to come back over here, right? And even with my really slow reload, right? I have plenty of time to kill this 183 because he has an even longer reload than I do. And the situation now, yeah, I've taken out 2 tier 10 tank destroyers, but the situation is not improved. Now it is a Wheezy 111 there. He is on low health, and 2 EBRs, and myself and Artie in the STRV. But the very astute of you will notice that we have not seen the EBR 90s for some time. Where could they be? Like, they're really fast tanks, and I was really anticipating that during that whole engagement with the 268 in the middle and shooting the 183, I was expecting the EBR 90s to come zooming in from the north here, right? Either directly behind us on the 0 line or through the middle, like somewhere, right? That they would try and flank us, because they've been playing very aggressively all game, right? So where are they? And I was really perplexed here, trying to figure out, okay, so maybe they're just playing, they just suddenly decided how they're playing the game. That does happen sometimes, especially in a platoon, and these 2 guys are platooned. And maybe they're just playing really defensively, and they're just trying to support the Wheezy 111 down there in the south. I'm trying to remember, did I create that platoon with the SDRV? I don't remember. Yeah, just getting a little bit of extra XP and credits, but wanted to start a platoon with this guy because he's done a great job all game, supporting me and supporting the team. And now I'm getting more aggressive here. I'm really nervous about being caught out on my own against 2 EBRs here, right? They could just kill me in like 5 seconds. And there's one of the EBRs, and I was like, okay, what? And he's stuck. He's stuck, guys. And I was like, how in the... I was so amazed. I actually ran into the pole there. I was like, what? How's he stuck? And I was so confused. I'm like, okay, so where's the other EBR 90, right? And he's stuck too. I'm like, how did they even get in there, right? I have no idea how they were able to get in there, guys. And the patch head already is able to kill both of them here. Let's take a look here. Let's go into free camp. How in the world were they able to get up there? I have no idea. There's no gap. Let's do a circle around, right? Okay, so they had to have gotten in. There's nothing. There's nothing all the way around, right? So they had to have wall jumped somehow. I have no idea how they were able to get it. Like, wheelies can do really weird things, right? But I still don't know how they were able to get in there. But they both got in there, and that I was like, okay, the game is won now. Right? When I saw that they were both stuck, I was laughing my butt off at the time. I was giddy that we were able to win this close game and laughing at the same time, and I didn't care that we were gonna win because that part was so hilarious. So hats off to the enemy EBRs. You made my day when playing this game, right? And I must confess, this is the first ever fun, exciting game that I've ever played on Pilsen, right? And so the STRV says he needs to kill him for a mission or something. I didn't quite catch what he was looking there. So I'm like, okay, I'll put 1 shell into him. and SDRV had the hit points to take a hit from the WZ, and the SDRV has a really quick reload, and he was able to kill him before he got rammed. So what a fun game! What a fun game, guys. I thought this would be really fun to show you guys after playing such a OP tank in the EVR 90 to show you a completely not OP tank in the GSOR on Pilsen, the same map. Um, and I just loved how this game played out. It was a lot of fun. Just making the right tactical decisions at the beginning of the game, right, to avoid getting YOLO'd. You don't want to get YOLO'd at the start of a game when there's just so many light tanks, right? We avoided the cold dunes here at the beginning and just let them YOLO, right? And me and my teammates did a great job staying out of cover and not getting caught out in the open and getting isolated. And we put lots of good fire into them and forced them to leave. And then we counter pushed into the snipers while their team took this side of the map. And then it turned into an east versus west fight, which I think is much more interesting. Maybe in the future, wargaming can change the spawns of this map, and that would be a lot more of an interesting fight. Maybe the cap zone right here and a cap zone right here, right? But hey, I wish I had that kind of power to make those decisions, but I don't, unfortunately. So maybe the powers that be will watch this video and take some input. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you had as much fun watching this game as I did playing it. Um, Maybe I'll do a review on the GSOR, the tier 9 British Light, sometime in the future. But for now, we'll have to settle for this game. Wish you the best of luck out there. Happy hunting and take care.